Hello, and welcome to the Bergstrom Spur Platinum Planning Study virtual public meeting. This video is part of the second phase of community outreach for this study and will guide you through options to develop the Bergstrom Spur, a former rail line located in South Austin, into urban trail with potential public transit opportunities. This first video gives an overview of the study and shares proposed trail and transit concepts for the full corridor. The three additional videos provide a more in-depth look at the western, central, and eastern segments of the corridor. At the end of the videos, we invite you to take a short survey and share your feedback. Your input is important to this process and will help inform final recommendations. The Bergstrom Spur study is presented by CAMPO, the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, and the City of Austin Urban Trails Program. Since September of 2019, a project team has studied possible uses for this corridor. The corridor is about 6 miles long and 50 feet wide, stretching from Vincent Drive, just west of South 1st Street on the west end, to 183 near the Austin Bergstrom International Airport on the east end. CAMPO's long-term platinum planning approach considers how transportation planning impacts several factors such as equity, housing, the environment, economic development, and the historical and cultural character of a location. These factors were all considered in making the recommendations and concepts presented here. This former Bergstrom Spur rail line, owned and operated by Union Pacific Railroad, was a critical connection to the former Bergstrom Air Force Base, established in 1942 after the U.S. entered World War II. The rail line was decommissioned in 1993, and today much of the existing railway is in disrepair and can no longer support any kind of rail service. Since the fall of 2019, the project team has worked closely with community members and local stakeholders to identify options for the Bergstrom Spur. Following this current phase of community input, the study will produce a final report which will be shared with the public in the late summer of 2020. This map shows the full length of the corridor and the three segments, western, central, and eastern. The solid gray line shows the full segment of the corridor where an urban trail would be developed. The trail will likely be developed in phases with an emphasis on an urban trail and a linear park on the western segment from Vincent Drive to South Congress Avenue, and an urban trail with options to include future transit along the central and eastern segments from South Congress to 183. There's also an option to develop the trail and transit in the future using existing roadways, which is shown with the light gray dots on the eastern segment. Each of the three segments could be developed independently of each other, and each would be an asset to the nearby area and provide several trail and transit connections. This image shows a potential urban trail concept for the western segment of the corridor. The trail on the western side would likely be developed with separated paths for people walking and biking, and a linear park that could be used for recreation or transportation. For the central and eastern segments, which have a more urban, commercial, and industrial character, the project team recommends developing an urban trail that is built to allow future transit service running parallel to the trail. Public involvement plays a key role in shaping the study. Since September of 2019, the project team met with neighbors and other community stakeholders to provide information, listen to their ideas, and ask for feedback on the various stages of the project. Out of the public involvement efforts, here are some of the highlights of what we heard. Overall, there is support for the project and multimodal options to allow people to move around on foot, on bike, or other active transportation. There is a recognized need for improving connectivity for east to west travel, including connections to existing and to future trail networks, transit options, and to the airport. There's also general interest to develop the corridor in a way that improves safety for walking, biking, and the general community. and there is strong support to incorporate landscaping and shaded areas into the design. There are many considerations that need to be addressed when developing the walking, biking, and transit service options along the corridor. The Bergstrom Spur would need many street-level roadway crossings. The design of the roadway crossings will vary on different segments, but will incorporate signage, lighting, and other elements to make it safe and easy to cross at busy intersections. Other trail amenities to consider include trailheads, directional signage, lighting, seating, shaded facilities, and bike parking. Green infrastructure such as rain gardens or bioretention ponds, as shown in the image in the lower right, can be used to help make the landscaping more sustainable, drought-tolerant, and easier to maintain. To make the corridor more engaging, public art can also be added in the area. Nearby businesses can also choose to have outdoor patios or other amenities face the trail. Additionally, programming for local events and activities can draw people to the trail. These concepts would help make the trail a fun, welcoming, inclusive, and exciting place to visit, regardless of age or ability. The project team studied 2 sites as potential high-activity locations for future development and growth. These potential sites include the South Congress Transit Center, located at South Congress and Radham Lane, and city-owned property located at Todd Lane, just south of Ben White Boulevard, US 71, currently used by Austin Resource Recovery. These sites could serve as hubs of activity connecting various transit routes and transporting people to various destinations, including the airport. You're probably wondering, when will all of this take place? There are several steps in the process. First, a project sponsor, such as the City of Austin, will use this study's report to secure funding for development of the corridor. The project sponsor would then conduct a thorough design process and begin development of the trail in phases. Options for transit along the spur would come later, once there is more density in the area and a greater demand for service. We hope this presentation helps explain future possibilities for the Bergstrom Spur corridor. Please be sure to complete the survey located at campotexas.org/get-involved. You can also submit comments or request printed materials by dialing 512-761-2224 or emailing comments@campotexas.org. View the other videos to learn more about options for each segment of the corridor. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts.